What if the vault holding all the world's wealth was just suddenly unlocked and all the cash was just blowing in the wind, waiting for anyone holding a net?
I mean, it's quite the visual.
Right. It sounds like a super dramatic metaphor, but we are looking at data today showing exactly how trillions of dollars are literally changing hands right now.
Yeah, right this second.
Exactly. And we're not talking about some, futuristic tech bro fantasy here. We're talking about a structural, generational reshuffling of global wealth, and it is driven entirely by the AI revolution. So, okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, to really grasp the gravity of what is happening, you have to look at the math calmly and analytically, because the window to capture this displaced wealth is open today, but history shows us these windows close
Very
rapidly.
rapidly.
Right. And if you understand the underlying mechanics of this wealth transfer, you can position yourself to catch it. If you ignore it, you're going to simply watch that vault door swing shut again with a totally new group of people inside.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I see the headlines every single day about new software updates and these wild company valuations. But before we get distracted by the shiny new tools, I think we really need to look at the historical precedent.
Oh, absolutely. The context is everything.
Because this isn't a new phenomenon, right?
Yeah.
Like every major technological leap completely dismantles one wealthy class and installs a new one. Think back to the shift from the agricultural age to the industrial age.
Right. Moving away from just farming.
Yeah, we went from a world where landowning elites held all the cards to an era where the people who mastered factories and supply chains, the Carnegies and the Rockefellers, they became the new titans.
And the crucial mechanism to understand there is technological leverage.
Leverage, right?
Because the old guard, they always assume their position is static. They think they're safe because they control the current resources. But then a new technology comes along and entirely changes the definition of what a valuable resource actually is.
Oh, that's such a good point. Like the digital revolution.
Exactly. We watched this happen between, say, 1990 and 2010. The massive physical infrastructure of companies like Blockbuster or Tower Records, it became completely useless almost overnight.
Because people figured out the internet.
Right. A few people understood the new leverage of the web. The physical world was displaced by the digital one, and the wealth flowed directly to the architects of that digital world, the Bezos and Zuckerberg types.
Which brings us to the absolutely staggering numbers we're looking at today in the sources. The data shows the AI market was valued at about $196 billion dollars in 2023.
Which is already massive.
Right. But listen to this. By 2030, projections place it at 1.8 trillion.
Wow.
That is a 9 times increase in less than a decade. I mean, to give you a sense of scale for you listening right now, the entire gross domestic product of Canada is roughly $2 trillion.
So we're watching a single technology sector expand to the size of a G7 national economy.
Exactly. And on top of that, McKinsey estimates AI could add $13 trillion to the global GDP by 2030.
13 trillion. It's almost hard to comprehend.
It is. But hold on, I have to push back here for a second, because I'm reading a Goldman Sachs report in this same stack of data, and it explicitly says AI could automate tasks equivalent to 300 million full-time jobs worldwide.
Yes, that number is out there.
300 million. So if I'm listening to this right now, I'm thinking, isn't this just a horror story of mass unemployment? I mean, where is this new wealth going to come from if hundreds of millions of roles are being automated out of existence?
See, that tension is exactly why so much of the mainstream commentary misses the mark completely. You really have to separate wealth destruction from wealth displacement.
Okay, wealth displacement.
Yeah. According to the World Economic Forum, while AI will inevitably disrupt those 300 million roles, it is simultaneously projected to create 97 million entirely new roles.
Wait, 97 million new ones?
Yes. But more importantly, the capital that used to pay for those automated tasks, it doesn't just evaporate into thin air.
Right.
It moves. Think about it. The company that saves, say, $10 million on customer service overhead, they don't burn that money. That capital flows into new investments, higher profit margins, and into the pockets of the people who actually manage the AI systems.
Oh, I see.
The wealth is just flowing through newly laid pipes. So for you, listening right now, the only question that matters is where you are standing while those pipes are being rerouted.
Okay, so let's talk about the actual people standing under those pipes. Who is catching this money in the real world? Because massive global GDP stats are a bit, abstract.
Yeah, they're hard to apply to daily life.
Exactly. The reality on the ground is where this becomes actionable for our listeners. So we're seeing a few distinct categories of people winning big right now. And the most obvious ones are the infrastructure builders.
The foundational companies.
Yeah, the companies laying the groundwork for this whole ecosystem. NVIDIA is up like 2,000% in 5 years. Then you have OpenAI, Anthropic.
And, you know, you don't need to be a Silicon Valley insider to participate in that layer. That's the second category, the AI investors. Regular people are taking positions in this infrastructure right from their phones for as little as $10.
The classic picks and shovels play.
Exactly. But you have to look beyond just the household names. Look at companies like TSMC, that's Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company.
Right, the chip makers.
You don't need to know how to engineer a microchip yourself, but you do need to understand their mechanism. They physically print the highly specialized silicon that makes AI possible. If artificial intelligence is a digital brain, TSMC is literally manufacturing the neurons.
Wow.
Or consider cybersecurity and cloud computing firms. They are the essential utility providers for this new era.
But investing is just one avenue. The next group is what's really fascinating for the everyday professional, I think. It's the AI-augmented professionals.
Oh, this is the biggest shift.
Right. This isn't about pivoting to become a software engineer. This is about doing your current job as if you suddenly have superpowers. There's this brilliant example in the data of a freelance copywriter.
I remember this one.
Yeah, so they normally charge $500 per article. Post-AI, they still charge $500 an article. But instead of grinding out one article a day, they use AI to output 10 articles a day.
It's incredible.
Same quality, right, but 10 times the output.
What you're touching on there is a really profound economic concept called the zero marginal cost of intelligence.
Zero marginal cost. Okay, break that down.
Historically, if a solo marketing agency wanted to scale from handling 3 clients to handling 30 clients, they had to hire more humans.
Yeah, they need more staff.
And that meant payroll, management, office space, benefits. The cost of scaling was entirely linear, but today, that same solo operator can use AI agents for data analytics, market research, content drafting.
Just a whole team of bots.
Exactly. The cost of adding a new quote-unquote employee, in this case, an AI agent, is essentially a $20 monthly subscription. The human operator does the high-level strategy and the relationship building, while a hyper-competent digital workforce does the heavy lifting for absolute pennies.
And when you take that concept of zero marginal cost and apply it to building a business from scratch, the AI entrepreneurs, the barrier to entry basically vanishes.
It drops to zero.
Literally. The data highlights a woman in Austin generating $40,000 a month in revenue. And she isn't running some crazy tech startup. She creates children's books.
Just from her laptop.
Yeah. She uses an AI image generator called Midjourney for the illustrations and ChatGPT to help outline and refine the text. Then she uploads the finished product to Amazon KDP, which is their print-on-demand service.
Right, so no inventory.
None. She doesn't have a publisher, she doesn't hold physical inventory in some warehouse, and she has 0 employees.
It's the complete bypass of traditional gatekeepers. I mean, a decade ago, that woman would have needed a literary agent, a publishing deal, and thousands of dollars up front just to hire an illustrator.
Oh, easily thousands.
The technology just collapsed all of those friction points.
Yeah.
And we're seeing the exact same thing in the software space. There's another case study in here of a man in the Philippines who built a SaaS tool software as a service.
Right, where customers pay a recurring monthly fee.
Exactly. He hit $15,000 in monthly recurring revenue in just 8 months. And the kicker, he doesn't even have a computer science degree.
Wait, really? No degree?
Nope. He used AI to write all the boilerplate code and troubleshoot the errors for him.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because if you look at the landscape of what those 2 individuals did, it is the exact modern equivalent of the internet in 1997.
That is a perfect comparison.
Think about that era. The vast majority of the public was staring at these heavy, boxy monitors, asking, why would I ever want to read a website?
Right, what's an email?
Yeah. But a very quiet, highly focused group of people were scooping up domain names, building the first e-commerce stores, and essentially claiming the most valuable digital real estate on Earth,
Wow.
while everyone else was just confused.
They grasped the leverage of the network way before it was normalized.
But that raises a massive question. If the barrier to entry is genuinely this low, if a solo entrepreneur can spin up a publishing empire or a software company from a laptop on their kitchen table, Why isn't everyone doing this? I mean, why is my neighbor not making 40 grand a month right now?
Because of a really powerful psychological trap. It's a phenomenon known as the great forgetting.
The great forgetting.
Yes. Human beings have a remarkable tendency to normalize miracles, and we repeat this exact psychological cycle with every single major technological shift. We forget how the previous wealth transfers happened, and we blind ourselves to the one happening right in front of us.
So how does this blindness actually play out?
It occurs in three distinct stages. Stage one is denial. This is the period where society collectively dismisses the new technology as a toy or a fad.
Like people dismissing the internet.
Exactly. We heard it in the 1980s when executives said personal computers would never replace typewriters. We heard it in the late 90s about the internet, and in 2007 when people said smartphones were, just for checking email.
And we heard it last year. Oh, it's just a chatbot that hallucinates.
Exactly. People write it off. Then society transitions into stage two, which is slow acceptance. And this is exactly where the vast majority of the global population is sitting today.
Okay, so what does stage 2 look like?
People realize that technology has some utility, but they only apply it to mundane, low-leverage tasks. They will use an incredibly powerful AI model to draft a polite email to a client, or they'll ask it for a dinner recipe.
Right, planning a trip to Italy or something.
Yeah, they are interfacing with the most revolutionary cognitive engine ever built, but they're treating it like an upgraded Google search.
Yeah.
They completely miss the wealth-building leverage.
So what shakes people out of stage 2 then?
Stage three, urgency. And this is the panic that will inevitably hit the general workforce 3 to 5 years from now. Panic.
Wow.
Yeah, urgency sets in when the shift becomes utterly undeniable. It's the moment a small business owner realizes their competitor across town is operating at 10 times the speed with half the staff.
Oh, man.
Or it's when every single valuable job listing demands advanced AI proficiency as just a baseline requirement. But here is the brutal economic reality. By the time the general public reaches stage three and scrambles to adapt, the individuals who took action during stage one and stage two, they've already captured the wealth.
I want to make this super clear for you listening right now. Getting wealthy from the internet boom did not happen because you finally figured out how to make a Facebook profile in 2010.
No, absolutely not.
It happened because someone had the foresight to invest in Amazon in 2001 when it was trading at a fraction of its future value at like $6 a share. Or because they spent $19.99 figuring out how to build an online community. The window of asymmetric opportunity is open today. It is open right now. But history guarantees that once this technology is fully normalized into everyday life, that window will close.
Which means the mandate for the listener is to move from being a passive observer to an active participant. Because understanding the great forgetting is only useful if you use it to change your behavior.
So how do we actually do that? How do we take all these massive economic concepts and distill them into a random Tuesday afternoon?
We need a plan.
Right. And the data provides a very clear 4-pillar playbook for action. And pillar 1 is skilling up. Now, let me alleviate a major source of anxiety right out of the gate here. You do not need to learn how to code.
No, not at all. Because coding itself is rapidly becoming a commodity. The AI can write the syntax. The immensely valuable human skill is now direction and orchestration.
Exactly. Think of it like being promoted from a line worker to the manager of a team of infinite hyper-competent interns. Your job is to give them precise instructions, what we call prompting.
Prompting is key.
The playbook suggests dedicating just 30 minutes a day for 90 days. Spend that time understanding how these tools interlock. Tools like Claude, Midjourney, Suno, Udio, 11 Labs, or take Zapier, for instance.
Zapier is a great example.
Instead of viewing Zapier as just an app, think of it as a digital nervous system. You can set it up so that when a prospective client emails you, Zapier catches that email, instantly hands it over to an AI like Claude to read and analyze, instructs Claude to draft a custom proposal based on your previous work, and then Zapier saves that draft in your outbox, all while you were asleep.
Incredible leverage.
Yeah, 30 minutes a day learning those workflows will put you ahead of 95% of the global workforce.
Which naturally feeds right into pillar 2, building an AI-augmented income stream. The beauty of this is that you don't need to invent a totally new industry. You simply take the specialized knowledge you already possess and use AI to multiply it.
Use what you know.
Exactly. If you are a high school teacher, how can you use AI to rapidly design, scale, and market an online curriculum to students globally? Or, if you are a financial planner, how can you use AI to generate highly personalized daily market analyses for a massive subscriber base? You are taking your existing human expertise and applying a massive digital multiplier to your distribution.
So what does this all mean? It means your output is suddenly decoupled from the hours you work, which gives you the resources for Pillar 3, investing in the infrastructure.
The ETF play?
Right. We talked earlier about TSMC and NVIDIA.
Hmm.
The core philosophy here is that you don't need to be the visionary founder building the next OpenAI in a garage. You just need to own equity in the ecosystem. There are exchange-traded funds like BOTZ or Robo or AIQ that bundle these infrastructure companies together, or companies like Microsoft and Google.
Yeah, own a piece of it.
The strategy is to position your capital so that as global businesses spend billions upgrading their tech stacks over the next decade, a fraction of that spending flows back to you through your investments. Always do your own research, obviously, but the principle is about owning the roads, not just driving on them.
Well said. And then there is Pillar 4, which is perhaps the most immediate meta opportunity available right now, building a personal brand as a guide.
As a guide.
Yeah. Whenever a paradigm shift of this magnitude occurs, mass confusion always follows. The individuals who will generate the most immediate cash flow over the next half-decade aren't just the ones quietly using AI to optimize their own spreadsheets.
Right.
It is the people who step up, learn the tools, and then turn around to teach the rest of the world how to use them. Consultants, educators, industry-specific coaches.
No, that makes sense.
When an entire workforce is terrified of becoming obsolete, they will pay a premium for a human guide who can safely walk them across the bridge into the new economy.
Wow. When you step back and look at those 4 pillars, learning to orchestrate AI, multiplying your current skills, owning the infrastructure, and guiding others, it represents a complete structural change in how everyday people can operate.
It really is the ultimate collapse of traditional barriers. I mean, if we look at the last century of economics, generating truly passive or scalable income required massive reserves of either time or capital.
Yeah. Huge upfront costs.
You needed millions of dollars to buy commercial real estate, or you needed to invest 80 hours a week for 5 years to build a small business from the ground up. Artificial intelligence collapses both of those requirements simultaneously. It performs the heavy lifting of time by executing tasks in seconds, and it requires virtually zero capital to access.
It reminds me of the stories from the 1849 California gold rush, but with a major modern twist. Back then, rumors started spreading across the country that people were pulling fortunes out of the dirt out west.
The original gold rush.
Right. 2 distinct groups of people heard that exact same information. The first group listened, analyzed the situation, and decided the journey was too perilous. It was a 2,000-mile trek across deserts and mountains with no guarantee of success. So they stayed home, waited for certainty, and lived their normal lives.
But the second group heard the news, packed up their wagons, and left. And it's vital to recognize that they didn't do it because they had a guarantee of striking gold.
No guarantees at all.
Right. They did it because they recognized an asymmetric opportunity. The mere chance at a completely transformed life was worth the risk of action. Some found gold, some realized the real money was in selling the tents and the jeans, but they all found new trajectories because they actually entered the arena.
But the massive difference today is that your frontier isn't a 2,000-mile wagon right away. It's glowing on the desk in front of you. It's in the phone sitting in your pocket right now.
You don't need to risk your life. You don't need venture capital funding, you don't need an Ivy League credential, and you don't need to wait for a gatekeeper to give you permission to start building. The tools are totally democratized.
It's fully accessible.
The only things required are awareness, which you now possess, direction, which the 4 pillars provide, and the willingness to act before the window of normalization closes.
And that brings me to a final philosophical thought I want to leave you with today. Something to really chew on long after you finish listening to this deep dive. We've spent this entire time talking about how AI fundamentally removes the historical barriers of time, money, and geography.
It levels the playing field.
It does. But if you take that to its logical conclusion, if you no longer need huge piles of capital, if you no longer need elite connections, and if you no longer even need to be in a specific physical city to build immense wealth, then for the very first time in human history, the only real barrier standing between you and this new rich class is your own personal choice.
That's a profound realization.
Right. In a world with zero barriers to entry, we lose our excuses. We can no longer blame the system, the economy, or the gatekeepers. We can only look in the mirror. The vault door isn't locked anymore. The wealth is right there, flowing freely for anyone willing to reach out and build the net. What decision will you make today?